All right, today we're cracking open a chapter of American history that frankly doesn't get talked about enough. We're going to look at the real foundation of America's economic power. I mean, think about that for a second. The greatest heist happened in broad daylight. That statement just completely flips the script on everything we've been taught. It's not just saying the economy was built, it's saying it was stolen. You know the story we always hear, right? American capitalism, built on rugged innovation, hard work, sheer ingenuity. But the truth, well, the truth seems to lie a lot deeper. The sources we're digging into today paint a much, much darker picture. They argue that if you peel back the shiny surface of modern finance, what you find is something they call a biological crime scene. So that's the big question, isn't it? What was the actual blueprint? How do you build an empire on stolen bodies? Well, let's follow the money. Let's uncover the step-by-step plan that turned human beings into financial assets. Okay, so Section 1. To really get this, we have to start with the core concept, the actual financial tool that made this whole thing work. And that term is human collateral. And listen, this is not a metaphor. This isn't some fancy phrase. It was a literal nuts and bolts financial practice. We're talking about people, enslaved people, being written down on ledgers, given a specific dollar value, and then used to secure the loans that built the American economy. So how did they actually pull this off? You might think this was some crude, back-of-the-envelope system. But no, it was a really sophisticated financial machine, and it was engineered by some of the sharpest minds on Wall Street and in the brand-new insurance industry. Think of it like a two-part system, two pillars holding the whole thing up. On one side, you had the insurance industry, mostly up north, funnily enough. Their job was to de-risk the asset. And on the other side, you had the bankers on Wall Street, and they figured out how to turn that asset, a person, into cold, hard cash that could be traded anywhere in the world. This is where it gets truly wild. Look at the insurance side of things. We're talking about policies sold by companies in the north, places like Connecticut, and these policies didn't just cover an enslaved person's death. Get this. They also covered the owner's financial loss if someone managed to escape to freedom. I mean, just wrap your head around that. The system was so twisted that the human desire for liberty was literally turned into a recoverable business loss on an insurance form. Okay, so this slide really breaks down exactly how Wall Street did it. Let's walk through the steps. Step 1, an enslaved person is given a dollar value, just like a piece of property. Step 2, you buy an insurance policy on that property to make it a safe bet. Step 3, now that you have this insured asset, you can walk into a bank and use it as collateral to get a loan. But here is the Wall Street magic, the final step. The big banks would buy up thousands of these loans, bundle them all together, and then sell bonds to investors all over the world. And what were those bonds backed by? Not gold, not land. They were backed by human collateral. So, this financial machine was brutally efficient, and the amount of wealth it generated, it's almost impossible to get your head around. Just look at this number, 7 times. In the mid-1800s, the market value of enslaved people was 7 times larger than every single piece of currency in circulation in the US at the time. All the dollars, all the coins, add it all up, and the value placed on human beings was 7 times more. And if that last number didn't hit you, this chart will. Look at this comparison. There was more wealth tied up in enslaved people than in all the banks, all the railroads, and all the factories in the country combined. Let that sink in. Slavery wasn't just part of the American economy. For a huge chunk of its history, it basically was the American economy. And this wealth wasn't just sitting in a vault somewhere. It was put to work. This was the actual money, the capital that built this country's infrastructure. We're talking about the railroads that crisscross the nation, the prestigious universities that are still around today, and even the very first stock market. It was all funded by profits generated from human collateral. Okay, so right about now, you're probably thinking, but this was a long time ago. The Civil War ended it. Why does this matter today? Well, here's the thing. According to the sources we're looking at, the system never really went away. It just updated its software. I love this quote. The heist didn't stop in 1865. It just updated its software. It's such a perfect way to put it. Yeah, the legal institution of slavery was abolished. But that underlying financial system, the one designed from the ground up to extract wealth, that just kept on running. And you can see that evolution right here on this timeline. It's like an unbroken chain. It starts in the 1840s with those human collateral bonds. Then you get to 1865, emancipation, but with zero reparations, no economic base to start from. That morphs into redlining in the 1930s, where banks basically drew red lines around black neighborhoods and refused to give them loans for homes. And where does that lead? Straight to the massive generational wealth gap that exists today. So what does that software update actually look like? Well, first freedom arrives, but with no payback. None of the capital stolen over 250 years was returned. The banks and the families who got rich, they kept every single penny. Then, new tools get invented, like redlining, specifically to keep capital and home ownership, the main way to build wealth in America, away from black families. And the dominoes keep falling. School funding gets tied to property values in those same redline neighborhoods. You can see how the pattern repeats. And all of this leads us to the final, really powerful argument here. The idea that the past isn't really past. In fact, it's the very foundation we're all standing on right now. The core idea is this: you can't build a stable house on a rotten foundation. A system designed for extraction is, by its very nature, unstable. So when we see systemic inequality, when we see banks failing, when we see all this social instability, these aren't new problems. They're the echoes. They are the cracks showing up from a foundation that was built on rotted bricks from day one. And that leads to a really chilling question, one that brings this whole thing right into our laps today. If you build a system of extraction that runs for 400 years on stolen black wealth, what happens when that system needs new fuel? The suggestion here is that a machine built to extract will always look for something new to extract from. It's a system that eventually turns on everyone. So we're left with a massive challenge. Because if this history is right, then all the economic problems and inequalities we see around us, they aren't bugs in the system. They are the system. They're features, not glitches. And knowing that, understanding this hidden blueprint, is maybe the first step. But it leaves us with the biggest question of all. How do you even begin to fix a system that was designed from the very beginning to extract from us?